Welcome to the podcast designed to fuel your success selling technology solutions. I'm your host, Josh Lopresto, SVP of Sales Engineering at Telarus, and this is Next Level Biz Tech. Everybody, welcome back. We got a special episode for you. Some new things coming out in the news, some acquisitions, some updates, of which today's episode is titled Behind the Deal, Why NiCE Bought Cognigy and What It Means for Customer Experience. So on with us today, we have got Hardy Myers, VP of Global Partnerships for NiCE Cognigy. Hardy, welcome on, man.
Thank you. It's great to meet you, Josh, and it's great to be on the podcast.
So we got a lot to talk about. We do a lot of CX around here, so I know the advisors are itching. They got a lot of questions. Before we kind of kick it off about kind of the Cognigy story, talk to us about you. How did you get into technology and partnerships and, end up to where we're at now? I always love hearing everybody's origin story.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I was involved in the aerospace business in manufacturing for many years, and I was working on a huge global contract with Boeing and a smaller company, and we got wiped out by a big company. And at that exact moment that I got that email, the phone rang, and it was in the .com era, and a partner at a large accounting firm called me and said, "Hey, I've got this communication startup. Would you be interested in steering it and advising it?" And I said, "Well, given that I just lost my biggest customer or biggest prospect in my current position, that sounds pretty interesting." And of course, it was 2001, and so it's the peak of the .com bubble. And so I got into communication software before it was really a raging big thing. So, I mean, no, don't get me wrong, contact centers had been around, voice messaging and call processing had been around, but not the internet was pretty nascent, as you guys know, at that point. Still, it was pretty early times. And so I got into it, and this is way before cloud is my point. And so we were really, we're designing in 01, a SaaS solution for a market that, in 01 cloud wasn't really what we're talking about today. Contact centers of service, et cetera, really didn't exist. So it's pretty early and pretty exciting. And that led me down the journey that ended up where I am today. So
I love it. Aerospace. I don't know that we've had anybody from aerospace on before. I love,
yeah,
I love the stories. We've had all kinds of stuff on here. So, if you flash back and you think about, let's call it maybe hard lessons learned or a key insight, a great mentor, what's something that you have carried with you along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things is persistence is probably become, I would say, a hallmark of the success of my career, and something that I would just encourage people who are on a journey like we've been at Cognigy, that, it takes time and it takes persistence to be successful. And excuse me, Cognigy, started in 2016, and I wasn't there from the beginning, but I got involved starting in 2019, and I've been here ever since. So, you would, if you talk to either one of any one of our co-founders, they would all tell you the same thing, that, they expected to create some sort of outcome, but they didn't know when, and that we knew if we continued to execute it with the focus and the level of strategy that we had, that we would be successful. And that, in fact, is what's happened. So
Awesome. Let's frame up AI and just kind of the CX market, right? You've been in this space in the 2000s. You've taken it, now into CX. Why now so many AI-driven CX conversations? I mean, give me kind of from your seat and your perspective as you've seen transformations.
Yeah, I think so. The technology has been, I would call it, somewhat stagnant over the last decade. Excuse me, prior to the entrance of generative AI, Chat GPT. And what I mean by that is a speech recognition was pretty much the same, and it was getting better. The models continued to improve, but it was okay, but not great. And it was very linear. So you had that very robotic experience, and all of us had that experience where if you went into a speech enabled solution, you had to say the right thing for it to do what it could do. And by the way, it could still do some pretty cool stuff. We've all had great experiences with automation that before this agentic era. And I'll give you a very simple example, which I'm sure you'll appreciate. prescription refill. Well, like when the first time I ever did it, even though it was touch tone, it was so transformative compared to, say, waiting in line at the drugstore for an hour and a half because you're the 12th guy to get in line for your pick up your prescription or whatever. So, we've had really good experience with automation, but the speech version of that, which is, if you want to think about what we're doing today, that was really the early stage of what we're doing. Or even the bots on the digital side were very what we refer to as deterministic, which meant that the programmers or the creators of that technology really had to create a list of everything you might say. And if you didn't say it exactly the right way, the bot or the speech enabled auto attendant would respond exactly the way it does that you and I get frustrated with and push zero or yell operator or whatever we do to jump the queue and talk to a human
Yeah.
because it just didn't know what we were saying. So the most significant advancement I would say in the last 3 years has been the transition from that deterministic, very required to be very predictive sort of interaction to you could pretty much say anything and the system would respond, would know what you're saying and know how to resolve it. And that's the excitement about what we're dealing with today, is this creating these truly human-like experiences, which of course the synonym for that at this point is agentic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think nobody thought that even if we got to probabilistic, that it would be this good, right?
That's
We
right.
expected it to say,
Right. Right.
I'm trying to get ibuprofen. Did you say you need a taxi? Like that. Those are the
Yeah. Yeah.
experiences that we've had
Exactly.
historically, but it's overnight. It just seems like it changed, right? I mean, it didn't happen overnight, but
You're right. I mean, it started at the end of 2023. So here we are, literally the same time in 20. So 2 years later. And the reasoning, so the combination is the accuracy and latency of the speech model. So consider it kind of the core tech, the cognitive services, as we refer to them, plus the reasoning capabilities of the large language models and the error rates decline of large language models. That combination, and the economics, of course, which is critical, those three things coming together has now created this very fertile ground for what we can now deliver, which are truly amazing transformative experiences at scale, by the way. Not like, okay, we got one right. I'm talking, we're doing customer solutions where we're doing tens of millions of conversations a year as we refer to them. So
yeah. So let's get into the mechanics of the deal, and then maybe a little bit into the tech fit. So first of all, just the question on everybody's mind: here's NiCE, here's Cognigy. What was it about Cognigy? What made that a good fit for both sides?
I would say every large um, contact center provider, leading contact service provider, was either going to build or buy this technology to augment their contact center service. Because in my opinion, and in our opinion, the future is a harmonious balance of human and digital assets creating the perfect customer experience. That is really what we're talking about. And what Cognigy, of course, the wave we are riding was the mega trend being AI enabled automation. So we were bringing that to the party. And so the reality of it is, like a lot of markets, there's some best of breed players that evolve or emerge, I should say, like Cognigy. And then the incumbents, all of the CCaaS providers in this particular example, either go, okay, we think we can build that, or if not, man, we're going to. And so thankfully, Scott Russell, our CEO, had the vision, in my opinion, and saw, hey, I have the leading contact center as a service solution in the market, and I want to augment that with the leading, or if not the leading, one of the leading AI-enabled automation platforms to create this amazing set of solutions that all customers not only need, but if we tell the story properly, which we're working very diligently to do, will want. And so sometimes you don't know you need it, but sometimes because of the quality of the experience, you go, I want that. The good news in our case is, in both cases, those two are intersecting at the same time in the market, which is people want it and they need it. So
That's what I'm thinking of, right? I'm kind of envisioning, two parallel paths were happening, right? Cognigy was building and designing and front ending, and NiCE has got this giant platform, this known name in the space. I mean, I guess walk me through then, um, at least how do you envision it from a tech stack perspective? If we know the NiCE platform
yeah,
already,
yeah,
where does the conversational AI component of Cognigy plug into the NiCE CX environment, the vision,
yeah.
all that stuff?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, NiCE has already spent a significant amount of investment in preparing, I would say, and delivering, in many cases, particularly around the agent experience with AI enabled solutions. So they've got an incredible portfolio of technology, as you I'm sure remember or might know. They were one of the emerging, or one of the leaders, I should say, in workforce engagement management, workforce optimization. They then bought InContact and transformed that into the leading contact center as a service platform in the world. And so this was kind of the natural next step in my mind, either to build it or to buy it. And you know, the vision that Scott has laid down is really this powerful combination of the incredible AI, I would say it, insights, analytics, data sets that they've developed over the years of interacting with customers. They have this amazing, I say they, we, I don't mean like that, but
I know. Do you say? I know. What, yeah. What do you say? Do you say they, we, us,
I
them?
didn't mean it that
Back
way. No,
then, because it's all
it's
current. I don't
it's
know.
really we. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And part of why I keep saying they is because Scott's. Let me finish and then I'll answer your question, because it's actually kind of funny. Um, the data sets that have NiCE has developed enable us to analyze interactions at any scale, at any customer level, and from that identify where the pockets of productivity can be, and then the vision is in real time to instruct Cognigy to create, or hire, if you want to use that terminology, AI agents to actually deliver on that promise. And that, so Cognigy can do that today. Obviously we can build that. NiCE has all the insights. You put that together and make that, we're automating the automation, is the way you want to think about it, which is incredibly powerful. So
That is.
and that's the
I love it.
vision that we just laid out at the NiCE industry analyst conference a week or so ago. And I will be. I think they just did that at the financial services day, and they're doing it with next week. There's a big announcement, a big launch that we have. So,
I love it. No, it fits in.
and the
It
reason,
makes
sorry, I was
sense.
going to finish the other, to answer your question, why I said
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
and they. The reason why I said that is because Scott's other vision was he wants a version of Cognigy to be able to be sold independently, in addition to the integrated solution, and in addition to NiCE contact center as a service still being able to be sold independently. And I think that's brilliant. And I'd say that not because he's ultimately my boss, which of course you could argue I probably have a little bias, but the reality of it is the customers are in different places in their journey. And so there are a lot of customers out there that may say today, my contact center is fine where it's at, but I need a really powerful AI enabled automation platform to drive my automation forward, to transform my customer experience. And so, or they may say, I want to do CCAS first and I want to add automation later. Any version of that, however the customer wants to consume the technology, we can deliver it. And that, I think, is
Yeah.
really smart.
Super powerful. I mean, our TAs love to hear that, right? I mean, I'm going to kind of go down the value and the opportunity for the TAs, and I'll come back to that. But I think the biggest thing that we love and our TAs love is, what can I wedge in with today in my existing customer base, as I'm
Yes.
prospecting, as that I'm whatever, right? I mean, short of furniture at this point, we could sell just about anything, it seems like, into some of these accounts. And
Yeah.
so, we open up the kimono of, look at all the products that we have in cloud, look at what we have in CX, look at what we have in security. So it's just a matter of, Mr. Customer, did you know that I could help you with all of these things? And then, of course, if you go to the Talaris solution map, it's where we guide the advisors of, these are all the bullets in each of those respective products. Maybe it's IVR today. Maybe it's conversational AI front end. Maybe it's WFM. Maybe it's, so we get very specific in that. So I love hearing about this, the ability to wedge in anything and everything over time. Because yeah, to your point, to me, it's a, do the door knock, see where they are, wedge in with what you can now, and load it in the CRM for a conversation in 18 months if they're under contract, right? Because if you
Yep.
stay tight with that, they're going to need help.
That's exactly right. And the second thing I would add, which is really, really powerful, is this: there is virtually a limitless list of use cases that customers can adopt over time. And what I mean by that is it's a great ongoing long tail expansion opportunity with this product. And I know that also your TAs love to hear that, because they can go back to the customer next year and have another conversation about what else. By the way, there's all these other interesting incremental use cases you could adopt And when I say interesting, I mean time to value, high outcome based solutions that are going to drive the customer experience, and that's what customers are all really clamoring for right now in our experience.
No, I agree. I mean, there's the wedges are the value. The fact that this just uplifts and multiplies and opens up. Well, what else can I do with this? Well, I got my data in order. I got we're ready to kind of plug into that. What else can we do from an analytics perspective and a front end perspective? And how do we improve the model, the model of our own data over time? Right. So it just gets to your point. It gets more probabilistic. It gets more all of those things, and that ultimately makes the TA is a hero in the customer's eyes, because the customer is just going, I don't know how to figure this out. Like I'm just sitting here trying to run a contact center, or I'm just sitting here trying to run a customer service department. I am not diving deep into technology every single day, all day. That's exactly where our TAs play. That's exactly where our vendors play. So it's a
Yeah.
great match.
And the other thing, I think the other piece for you and the TAs is that Scott's other piece of his vision, which I think is so critical, is it's a partner led vision. And so, we're going to continue to focus on how do we enable our partners to be successful, educating their customers or prospects, and then selling this technology. And I think I mean, you can have great technology, but you have to have a partner led mentality, in my mind, to make you and your partner successful. And so that's something, of course, I value very, very deeply, and I know Scott does too. So that's really exciting.
So let's talk about we've said the words, the letters AI, but now let's maybe get into a little more agentic. So if you think about, okay, CX improves over time, out comes chatbots, and then out comes AI, and now we've got this idea of agentic. So walk the advisors through. Cognigy has this flavor of agentic AI. How is that different from traditional chatbots?
Yeah, sure. And we started that conversation a little bit earlier, but the evolution that Cognigy has been on, which is the same evolution as the market, is that we were obviously and our claim to fame has always been orchestration, just FYI. And what I mean by orchestration is that we were in the middle, this middleware, if you will, that took inputs and created outputs that created amazing customer experiences. And part of our claim to fame was speed to value. And the reason why we did this is we had all these pre-built integrations to systems of record. We supported every contact center on the market. You could plug in any text to speech or speech to text in the platform, now large language models. All this interoperability that Cognigy had was really, really important to being able to create these amazing experiences. So fast forward to where we are today, and the world flipped over, if you will, and now agentic is the term du jour. But really, what it is, it's not just agentic; it's hybrid. Okay, and what I mean by hybrid, and I'll give you a good example. This is what the agentic brings to the party, if you want to say it that way, is this really powerful human-like experience with autonomous decision making and reasoning. Okay, and empathy, frankly, which is an
Beautiful.
important part of the puzzle. So the difference between a bot and an AI agent, a bot from yesterday and an AI agent today, is when you call, it sounds like a human, it reasons like a human, it actually has empathy like a human. So if you say, hey, I need to book a flight because I need to go to a funeral in Indiana, the bot understands what that means, and the agent, excuse me, the AI agent says what that means, and they will say, "I'm really sorry to hear that. Let's focus on getting your, flight booked right now." And it actually can show, and it feels very human-like. And the most important thing in that whole story, and one of our really smart sales engineers calls it the magic moment, which is where you create this relationship between the AI agent and the human, if you will, in the journey, and they don't feel that compelling need, which we've all heard 100 million times, to press zero for a live agent.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
that is the goal of automation, is to, solve a problem, not like force you because you're so angry to move out of the journey. Right. So
Yeah.
the other piece, and what's really important, why this hybrid matters, is that there are certain elements of your journey, your conversation, where you don't want empathy. You just want to make a payment, or you want to sign a document, or
Yeah.
whatever. And so hybrid means it's the combination of this really powerful agentic, call it autonomous reasoning, empathetic experience, combined with those very linear things that need to be done to actually make a real transaction happen or to solve a problem. So, look up a balance, take a payment, book a flight, all that is very linear. So it's actually a combination of the old technology a little bit combined with
Yeah.
this really powerful stuff to create these amazing agentic experiences.
I love that. Yeah, I love that example. I think it's a great way to frame it. Empathy empathy always considered, but prescribed as needed, and repeatable, and not subject to change based on somebody's mood, behind the scenes.
Yeah. And then the last piece I would say that I didn't mention, but well, actually two. One, context is super critical. And so, like, if you've seen it in any of our demos, it'll be like you call in and you give your number, but then you go, oh, actually, no, I forgot a nine, or excuse me, or no, I don't want to leave that day. I want to leave this day. So, like this, in previous bot experiences, that would never work. It would just be a
Yeah.
disaster. The phone would say, I'm sorry, I don't understand, or whatever. It's incredible, like how fast we can do this. And the fact you can, like a human, you change, not like a human, like a normal conversation, you can
Yeah.
change, where you're going. You can change your mind. You can say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to add a kid. Can I add my dog? Like, what do I need to do? All that kind of stuff. You can just throw that at the AI agent and they can handle it. And it's really cool. And then of course, the other part, which I know I'm sure your TAs would want to know about, is we've also, by virtue of the engineering of the product, put in guardrails so you can't it won't do things like, say, like if you were to ask a question that was off color or something like that. All of that we've engineered the product to be able to prevent that from happening. So that just doesn't happen anymore, or at least in well engineered solutions, I should say. So
It shouldn't. Yes,
yeah.
for sure. I love it. Okay, let's think about maybe let's get into an example here. So maybe walk me through. We talked about kind of the application and what it's designed to do. Walk me through a real world example where Cognigy came in, how it improved the results.
Yeah. I'll use a large insurance company just to sort of set the bar. And this actually is a great story because it also ties into not only the long tail, but also how you want to get started when you're having conversation with customers. So all enterprise customers, or all customers, period, have pain points that they're trying to solve. And the key is and the key to success in this deploying AI-enabled automation is to find a very high value, low risk use case to start with and generate enough savings from that fuels the transformation. So these are not 3-year, stories where hopefully after the third year something pops out the end and everybody's happy. And it's 2 years of pain and anguish, and maybe we make it, maybe we don't, kind of conversation. This is real time, or darn near real time. I'm talking weeks and months, okay, of investment of time to deploy, and then a real time return based on that relatively short term investment, real time return, high value return. And so in this particular example, I'm going to use this insurance company. They identified identity and verification and intelligent routing as a very high value, low risk use case to start with. And they had, let's say, over 100 million calls that they wanted to do this to. So if you take that example and what we did on that one, we were able to save this particular customer 90 seconds a call, just on identity and verification and then intelligent routing. Of course, our automation rate was through the roof. It was like high 90s, meaning our success rate of figure out who the customer was and what they wanted and putting them in the right direction. And then obviously the savings of 90 seconds a call, when you multiply that times 100 million calls, you're now talking millions and millions of dollars of savings, which was then reinvested into drive incremental automation use cases for that particular customer's customer experience, with the end state being the goal for them, fully automated claims processing, which, as you can imagine, having been, I'm sure, at some point in your life through an insurance claims process, would be delightful, is the way I would say it,
Yeah.
because it's super painful. So, and of course, we're on that journey now where we're like, they did sort of like, let's call it accident reporting automation. They did, policy reminders and renewals. So they're doing all sorts of really interesting incremental use cases. Each one of those reaching deeper into the organization, maybe moving back into the back office to, or the mid office and the back office to connect additional processes, et cetera. And that's the journey that these customers get on. And that becomes, from your TA standpoint, as I would use the terminology, which you would understand, of course, the gift that keeps giving. So it
Yeah.
really ends up being an ongoing massive expansion opportunity over time. And of course, that volume of conversations keeps going up and up and up, because you're expanding across different channels, you're expanding across different geos, you're expanding across use cases, maybe you're doing different languages. So all of those dimensions end up creating a very, very nice long tail of expansion, like we talked about.
So if we think about if we think about what you just framed up about that example, I mean, it seems kind of like the blueprint of the right way to find the right opportunity. So if I'm a Teleris advisor, what are the signals? Kind of a big question here. What are the signals that I should listen for that would indicate, hey, this is a Cognigy NiCE opportunity? I mean, we know the kind of NiCE fundamentals, but this opens up such a even broader bucket of wedge services. Is it, you mentioned high value, low risk, potential improvement, but if you don't know any of that going in of where that might be, how do you
Yep,
want advisors to,
that's a
how do you
great
frame that
question.
up? How do you think about it?
I think it's a great question. Well, first of all, I think AI is top of mind for everybody. And there's a lot of angst in the market. This MIT study that came out that 95% of all, what there was all this negativity around this stuff.
Yeah.
I can tell you, as Cognigy, we don't have failed transformations. Everything we do creates outcomes. That's our, and last year we had no churn, none, not like a little churn, no churn. So of our enterprise customers. So the point is that if you have the conversation with your customer, number one, AI is top of mind. Number two, they're looking for something to do that they can show success. Number three is everybody's got budget for it, which of course is very important in this story. And so it starts with just a general discussion about, are you aware of, where are you on your journey? What do you think? Obviously, AI is top of mind. Have you thought about potential applications of AI, with your customer experience? And the two most logical applications, of course, is agent augmentation use cases, which many of your TAs, I'm sure, are very familiar with. Auto summarization, next best action, things like that. And those are all very, very, very high value targets, by the way. And that's a relatively low risk because under the assumption that they have a nice, new, shiny, nice,
Yeah.
sorry, they have a brand new, shiny, nice contact center as a service. Adding that capability is a relatively light lift and a nice revenue driver. So on the agent augmentation side, I think your TAs are probably all very familiar with that. Everybody uses the term agent assist. Obviously, it's pretty
Yeah.
popular. But on the customer facing side, that is, in my opinion, really pretty easy too, because the conversation then becomes, well, what are some of the most painful things that you guys have had trouble automating or trying to solve? And from that
Mhm.
list, you can find, I'm quite confident, a high value, low risk use case that you could get started with. And away we go. I mean, it really starts with that conversation. We come in as the trusted advisor to your TAs, and as trusted partners, probably where to say it, right? And we come in working together hand in hand, and we figure out what their infrastructure is. We figure out how to architect that. We get clear on the volume, and put together a proposal. And I can tell you, it's really surprising how fast we can deploy this. Number one, and then secondarily, how normally, I would say normally, whatever the expectations we set for the customer, we're able to exceed that. With a little bit of time and a little bit of refining, it ends up being a very, very positive outcome for the customer.
I love that. And what did you say? What are some of the workflows, the things that you struggled to automate and solve? Was that how you worded it?
Yeah, and when I say that, it's not that they can't automate them. They just have not been able to find a solution that can do it well. And that probably just has to do with, what they were looking at as the tools to do it.
Immature
Okay.
tech
And
stack.
like,
Yeah. Immature tech stack, probably when they tried.
yeah, I'll give you a real example. If there are certain ways you can do this in the market where, you probably have a guy that kind of knows a little bit about a few things. We all have a guy, right? And he tries to experiment with, call it off the shelf stuff, maybe, and build it. But this is, it's like having an integration to SAP is not something that just falls from the sky. Being
Yeah.
able to integrate with every context on the market, these are not like easy, trivial tasks. All that stuff's been done. So
Yeah.
if you can walk a partner like NiCE Cognigy into the conversation, who has all this expertise, has done this hundreds, if not thousands of times with some of the biggest companies in the world, and has, it's all referenceable, by the way. So it's not like you look at us and say, well, has anyone ever done this? We're not doing guinea pig stuff here. This is all stuff we're doing at scale globally. We'd love to do it with your TAs.
I love it. Final couple thoughts here. You pair this up, put this marriage together. What do you think is next for NiCE and Cognigy over the next year or two?
Yeah, I think it's delivering on Scott's vision, which is this combination of this partner-led go-to-market, which we're working very hard on. Obviously, this is really a great part of that story, combined with the execution on the vision of creating this amazing single solution set that leverages all this powerful insights and AI that NiCE already has, combined with the orchestration capabilities and the AI of Cognigy to create these amazing customer experiences. Like I said, from my perspective, the future is this harmonious balance of these technologies, and it'll change over time. Maybe more of it comes automated, less human. But remember, the way the world's evolving, and this is also an opportunity for your TAs, and this is NiCE's vision, is that it's not just the front office; it's the mid office and the back office, and all that tied together is truly an enterprise workflow. So the more of that we can tie together and create and automate and make more efficient combination and bring more humans in at the right place, subject matter experts, et cetera, all seamlessly ends up creating a really, really powerful customer experience. And most importantly for your TAs, an amazing business opportunity. I mean, the magnitude of this, I've never seen an opportunity in dollars as big as this opportunity, candidly, in my career. And that's why I'm here, because I am not, of course, the money and the magnitude is exciting, but it's more exciting about being on the front wave of what I think is perhaps the most profound opportunity for transforming customer experience in my career. So,
I love it. All right, final question. This is a complete the statement exercise.
okay.
So for Hardy's prediction here, so in 3 years, the customer experience will be defined by what?
I would, to me, it's a huge increase in customer satisfaction as a result of the integration of both automation and humans. And the reason why I answer it that way is because I believe we relieve the humans of a lot of the tedious stuff they're doing today, and we solve a lot of the low hanging fruit problems. It frees up the agents to really, who know the company and know their products probably better than anyone, to actually add the value they can add. That when we all have had an amazing customer experience, it was with a agent who didn't feel time compressed, who knew what they were saying. You know what I mean? I think you get what I'm saying, but that's what I say is the future.
Create that everywhere. I love it.
Yeah.
That's it, Hardy. That brings us to the end, man. There's a lot of good nuggets in here. I really appreciate you coming on. This has been great stuff. Good for the TAs to hear.
Great to meet you, and I look forward to working with you and your TAs in the future.
Awesome. All right, everybody. That wraps us up for today. As always, don't forget, wherever you're coming to us from, Apple, Spotify, these drop every Wednesday, every other Wednesday. So you can get these and make sure you get this competitive intel before anybody else does. So until next time, I'm your host, Josh Lopresto, SVP of Sales Engineering at Telarus. Hardy Myers, VP of Global Partnerships for NiCE Cognigy, fills you in on what the acquisition means. Until next time, thanks, everybody.
Next Level BizTech has been a production of Telarus Studio 19. Please visit Telarus.com for more information.